time to face reality, guys. It is time to face reality. 2026 WNBA season is cooked. It's cooked where it's cooked like Thanksgiving food. It's all cooked. It is over. It's done. Finito. There will be no 2026 WNBA season. As it seems, we were hoping for a 60-day extension because we know the October 31st deadline is 3 days away.
Let's be absolutely clear from the start. This isn't some random hot take made for attention. The truth is, the 2026 WNBA season looks like it's hanging by a thread, almost as if the league is gasping for air. What blows my mind is how everyone's fixated on the ticking deadline, while barely anyone notices the real chaos unfolding in the shadows. Because this mess isn't about a few contract disagreements. No, it's something far bigger, deeper, and a lot more dangerous. And by the time you're done watching this, you'll understand exactly why certain powerful figures might actually want this season to collapse completely. Sounds unreal? Stick around. 3 days left before the October 31st deadline. Still no deal, no extension, nothing. And here's the spooky part. The last time CBA talks happened, the agreement was finalized exactly 3 days before the cutoff. Now we're standing at the same spot again, and all we hear is silence. The players' union won't budge. The league's in full-blown panic, and trust me, it's about to get even wilder.
Let's go. I'm pissed. I wanted to see Caitlin Clark absolutely destroy these ladies this season. I was ready to watch her cook them. Now, you're telling me we can't even get an extension done. This is wild. Let's head to Carly Bell's Twitter. Shout out to her. She said, could have almost guaranteed that the CBA wouldn't be resolved.
Did you really catch that moment? He wasn't just making noise. He meant every single word. His goal was clear. He wanted Caitlin Clark to completely take over the league and crush every rival in sight. And the wild part? He's not alone in that belief. Millions of new fans jumped on board last season purely because of her meteoric rise. TV ratings exploded. Arenas turned electric with sold-out crowds, and jersey sales shattered every previous record. But here's the scary truth. All that unbelievable momentum could disappear in an instant, as if it never even happened. And the most disturbing twist? There's a tight inner circle of people who actually benefit if this entire season falls apart. Sounds insane, right? But let's break it down, because once you start seeing the bigger picture, you can't unsee it. Carly Bell, the journalist who's been tracking every single move in these tense negotiations, just dropped a massive revelation on X, formerly Twitter. She wrote, "Everyone knew the CBA wouldn't be wrapped up by October 31st. That's not shocking. But then came the part that made the entire sports world freeze."
31st. I think we all pretty much could agree on that. However, with the recent public jabs from both the W and the Players Association, an extension could now not happen. It could not. It's not happening, you guys. In my opinion, I think it'd be foolish to not sign an extension, but I understand what the power of not signing one can do. Listen, the ladies in the PA and Unrivaled, Bree Stewart, Nafisa Collier, and all of them, they are feeling like they can hold the W's feet to the fire and force their hand to give them what they want.
Hold on a minute. Did she actually just hint that the entire extension could collapse because of a few social media jabs? That's not gossip or petty drama. That's a clear signal something much deeper and darker is brewing beneath the surface. Here's what almost everyone keeps overlooking. The Players Association literally trolled NBA Commissioner Adam Silver on Instagram right before everything started spiraling out of control, publicly mocking the man who helps control their league's financial lifeline. And let's be honest, when you embarrass the person funding your operation in front of millions, that story never ends well. But this is where things spiral from chaotic to downright explosive. She mentioned something called the power of not signing an extension. What kind of power could possibly come from walking away from basketball itself? It sounds absurd until you start tracing the money and influence trail hiding behind it all. Unrivaled, remember that name because it's about to shake up everything. It's a brand new, high-intensity 3-on-3 women's basketball league suddenly taking over headlines. The architects, Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, two of the sport's most powerful superstars. And here's the jaw-dropping twist. Just as WNBA negotiations crumble into chaos, Unrivaled starts skyrocketing in attention and investment. Players are already signing contracts, big investors are flooding in with cash, and if the 2026 WNBA season actually vanishes, the entire balance of women's basketball could shift forever.
Season, no extension is better for Unrivaled because that's where all the players are going to be. You already know that players have already agreed to contracts with Project B. That's already out there. They've already been in negotiations and signed WNBA players. This is happening. The WNBA players don't feel like they need to sign an extension or they need to have a season unless the W is going to give them every single thing they want. They want to be able to go make money in Project B. They want to be able to make their money in Unrivaled, and they want to be able to make their money in the WNBA.
All right, let's lay everything out clearly, because things are starting to spin out of control. These players aren't just after a single paycheck anymore. They're chasing every possible bag from every direction. You've got Project BBL, also known as Project Ben, rising fast, Unrivaled gaining massive traction, and of course the traditional WNBA trying to hold its ground. 3 different leagues, 3 lucrative money streams, but one massive problem. Their schedules clash hard. Every season overlaps, creating an impossible situation where no player can juggle them all without chaos. So what's really going on behind the scenes? The playbook is simple but ruthless. Crash the WNBA season completely. Push the league so far into a corner that it folds under pressure, forcing management to agree to nearly anything, even letting players bounce between competing leagues at will. It's pure negotiation warfare, and right now the players believe they hold every ounce of leverage because they finally have real alternatives. Their message couldn't be clearer. Give us what we want, or we'll take our talents somewhere else. And honestly, this time they might actually mean it. But here's the curveball nobody's really paying attention to, the gambling scandal. Yeah, this is where the story goes from tense to explosive. Just as all this league drama unfolds, the NBA gets rocked by a massive federal investigation into illegal betting activity, and the shockwaves aren't stopping there. The fallout has already started leaking into the WNBA, and if things keep unraveling at this pace, it could drag the entire league into the mess.
No extension is being signed. We watched the Players Association troll Adam Silver on Instagram, and then we saw the NBA get hit with a crazy gambling thing that's trickling down into the WNBA. Now the WNBA injury reporting being investigated. All of these things are happening. Adam Silver has a meeting with the feds on the 31st. You think an extension or a deal with the WNBA is about to be signed on the 31st? Come on, let's be serious here. Let's be serious here. The NBA is the real moneymaker. He needs to get that resolved with the feds.
Let me spell this out clearly, because the whole thing's turning into a power game. The players aren't chasing one paycheck anymore. They're stacking income from every possible angle. Project Ben, the rising side league, Unrivaled, the brand new 3-on-3 circuit, and the WNBA itself. 3 leagues, 3 paydays, one impossible schedule. The problem? Their seasons overlap. So what's the play? Simple. Squeeze the WNBA until it breaks. Make the league so cornered it agrees to anything, even letting athletes jump between rival leagues whenever they choose. It's classic negotiation warfare, and right now the players believe they hold every card because they finally have backup options. Their message couldn't be clearer. Give us what we want, or we'll take our talent somewhere else. And honestly, they just might pull it off. But here's the twist almost no one's discussing: the gambling probe. This is where the whole situation explodes. Right as all this drama unfolds, the NBA gets rocked by a massive betting scandal. A federal-level investigation, subpoenas, headlines, everything. And the shockwaves aren't stopping there. They're creeping straight toward the WNBA. Whereas all that concern before? When Caitlin Clark was getting cheap shot, when players were literally gunning for her every game, when the physicality against her looked more like assault than basketball, Nafisa had nothing to say. Total silence. But now that unrivaled suddenly needs attention, legitimacy, and fan engagement. Especially from the casual audience that only tuned in because of Caitlyn. She's suddenly everyone's biggest supporter. It's so obvious, it's almost insulting. And here's where it gets even more unbelievable. Nafessa claims she had private conversations with WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. Heartfelt discussions about protecting Caitlyn, acknowledging her impact, and making the league safer for her. Sounds nice, right? Until Caitlyn herself called it out. She said she never heard a single word about those talks until Nafessa stood on that podium and said it to the world. That's not advocacy. That's public manipulation. Think about it. Someone pretends to defend you behind closed doors, then uses your name publicly for positive PR without ever looping you in. That's not protection. That's branding. It's attaching yourself to the sport's biggest name to earn sympathy, credit, and influence, all without actually doing anything that costs you personally. It's genius in a dark, calculated way. Unethical, but genius. Meanwhile, Caitlyn's just trying to hoop. She's out there working, while her entire sophomore season might disappear because others are turning her career into a political chess piece. She never asked to be the face of a league. She never volunteered to be used as a bargaining tool. Yet here she is caught in the middle of power games she never signed up for. And now we reach the critical moment. What actually happens if the October 31st deadline passes without a deal? Because that's where things get truly disturbing. So here's where things get real. If there's no deal locked in by October 31st, there are only two roads left to take: extend the deadline or face a full-blown work stoppage. Now, Commissioner Engelbert did hint at the first option during her pre-WNBA Finals press conference. She said, "While I hope we meet the October 31st deadline," and yes, that's a firm deadline, "we have extended them in the past." Sounds reassuring, right? But here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Extensions only happen when both sides actually believe they're close to a deal. Let's call this path one, the ideal scenario. Both sides see progress. They just need a few more weeks or maybe a couple of months to iron out the details. The deadline gets pushed back. Negotiations continue. The panic fades. Simple, right? Except that only works when there's genuine trust and collaboration. When both parties are negotiating in good faith. You don't extend a deadline just for optics. You do it because you can see the finish line and you're almost there. But here's the kicker. Do we see any of that right now? Any real progress? Any sense that they're even remotely aligned on the major issues? Not a chance. In fact, it looks worse than ever. Players are speaking out publicly, saying the league refuses to listen, that their voices are ignored, their concerns brushed off. And in response, the league's firing back, accusing the Players Association of twisting facts and manipulating public opinion. They're even claiming the union's bringing in outsiders to stir up pressure. That's not progress. That's collapse. That's what a total breakdown looks like. So yeah, path one, the nice, peaceful, let's just extend it scenario, probably isn't happening. Which leaves us with path two, the dangerous one. And here's where things officially hit the danger zone. The league is accusing the players of lying about the negotiations, spinning stories just to win over public sympathy, and dragging outside voices into the fight. That brings us to path two, what's known as the status quo period. Here's how that works. The current agreement technically expires, but instead of immediately going to war, both sides drift into this strange limbo. The old contract doesn't really apply anymore, yet nobody's officially striking or locking anyone out either. It's this awkward gray zone where everyone's waiting, plotting, and trying to figure out their next move. But if that limbo drags on too long, or if one side finally snaps, that's when we reach the nuclear option, a work stoppage. That could play out two ways. Either the owners lock out the players, literally barring them from competing, even if they want to, or the players go on strike, refusing to take the court until their demands are met. Both scenarios would completely freeze the league. And get this, the WNBA isn't sitting quietly. They're already bringing in political muscle to turn up the pressure. Reports mention a high-profile figure, someone rumored to be the future governor of New York, stepping into the mix. Once politicians start showing up at labor meetings, you know it's gone way beyond basketball. That's the league's play. Make the players look stubborn and unreasonable and shift public opinion against them. But the players? They're not blinking. And I think I finally understand why they're so confident. It's all about the money. Follow the money and everything lines up perfectly. Wnba has already raised millions for Unrivaled. Major investors have poured cash in her league. She's got binding contracts, written commitments, and high-stakes promises on the line. So imagine being in her shoes. You've convinced investors to drop $20 million into your vision, sold them on the dream, and promised real returns. You can't suddenly tell them, hey, sorry, I'm going back to play full-time in the WNBA. Unrivaled's just a side project now. That's career suicide. They'd pull funding, maybe even sue. Her credibility would be shattered overnight. So Wnba needs Unrivaled to succeed, not as a side hustle, but as the main attraction. And the fastest, easiest way to make that happen? Make sure there's no WNBA season competing for attention, airtime, or players. You ever notice how suddenly Wnba Collier can't stop mentioning Caitlin Clark's name? Like clockwork, every 15 seconds, she's dropping it again. And it's not random. It's deliberate. Every mention, every Caitlin this, Caitlin that, is part of the Unrivaled PR push. Because when you've raised millions from investors who expect a return, you can't just turn around and say, hey, Unrivaled's on hold. If I'd written you a $20 million check for a league, and then you told me it wasn't happening anymore, you'd better believe I'd lose my mind. That's the trap Collier's in. She's boxed herself into a corner. And honestly, a lot of what's happening right now feels shady. People are playing politics, and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. Yeah, her name's coming up again too. Some say she's in over her head, that maybe it's time for a leadership change. Because this mess? It's starting to look less like bad luck and more like bad management. But let's be real, this whole situation is just ugly. It's business at its dirtiest. When millions of dollars and brand new ventures collide, loyalty disappears fast. And the tragedy here? The timing. The WNBA was finally having its moment. After decades of being overlooked, the 2024 season was electric. Ratings were skyrocketing, arenas were packed, sponsorships were pouring in. Everything the league had fought for over 25 years was finally paying off. And at the center of it all was one name, Caitlin Clark. Whether you loved her or couldn't stand the hype, you can't deny what she did. She changed the game, literally. She brought in millions of fresh eyes. People who had never watched a single WNBA game were suddenly scheduling their nights around Indiana Fever tip-offs. Little girls were rocking her jersey to school. Casual fans were learning about other players too, because Caitlin pulled them in and the competition kept them there. For the first time ever, women's basketball didn't just feel relevant. It felt massive. The growth was real, the energy was contagious, and the future looked unstoppable. And now, we're watching all of it teeter on the edge. Not because of performance, not because of talent, but because people at the top can't stop fighting over money and control that wouldn't even exist without Caitlin in the first place. And through all of it, she's been nothing but professional. No complaining, no choosing sides, no diva behavior, just focus. She just wants to play basketball. Yet the very league that's supposed to support her might not even give her season play-in. Zoom out for a second. This isn't just about one player or one league. This is the defining moment for women's sports. The test. The question that will decide everything moving forward. Can women's basketball sustain success on its own? Or is this all just a moment built around one generational star? Because let's be real, if the 2026 season collapses, that's it. Those millions of new fans? Gone. Casual viewers don't sit around waiting for boardroom battles or contract drama to sort themselves out. They move on. They find something else to watch. And once they're gone, getting them back is almost impossible. Think about it. The WNBA spent 25 long years fighting to build an audience, slowly earning credibility, loyalty, and national attention. They finally had it. For the first time ever, the league wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. And now, all that progress is hanging by a thread because people are more obsessed with side ventures and rival leagues than protecting the very product that gave them a career in the first place. It's unbelievable. And here's the part that really blows my mind. The players believe they've got leverage now, thanks to unrivaled Project B and overseas contracts. But that leverage only exists because of the platform the WNBA built. No one would have invested millions into unrivaled if women's basketball were still the niche sport it was 10 years ago. Those investors are only writing checks because the WNBA spent decades bleeding money to make the game mainstream. Now, some of these same players are turning around and using that hard-earned platform to launch competitors that could literally kill the WNBA. That's not just a business play, that's biting the hand that fed you. And sure, maybe it's fair to say the league hasn't always treated players right. Maybe the salaries haven't matched the effort, and maybe these women deserve to chase every dollar they can. But at least let's call it what it is. This isn't about equality anymore. It's about control, power, and profit. And sadly, it's all going to hit Caitlin Clark the hardest. Because if no agreement is reached, if this standoff keeps dragging on, she's the one who loses the most. Her second WNBA season could vanish before it even begins. Even now, people are calling for Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's job. And honestly, a lot of fans are starting to agree. The leadership looks shaky, the communication's a mess, and the timing couldn't be worse. The league was finally winning, and now it's on the edge of throwing it all away.